I'm literally only doing this video because I do not have any other content to put out right now. It's a couple weeks before the Oscars, the BAFTAs just happened, so I have a better understanding of what the winners could be in a couple weeks for the Oscars. So yeah, I had like one person recommend me do this, so that was enough to get me to do it. Also, I want to thank everybody that watched my live reaction to the Oscar nominations. It's the most views and likes and subscribers that I've gotten in that short amount of time ever. So I appreciate everybody that watched that. I gained a pretty lot of subscribers, and I'm thankful for it. But it's also a sign that I have peaked. I'm never going to reach that level of success ever again. Let's talk about who I think has a good chance of winning at the Oscars in a couple weeks. I'm not going to go through all the nominations. I'm just going to cover the ground of things that I have a good awareness of. Like, for instance, I'm not going to cover Best Documentary, which is something that a lot of people would cover, but I haven't seen any of these documentaries. The two documentaries that I loved did not get nominated for whatever reason, so that's going to be one of the major categories I'm not going to cover, but all the other major categories I will be covering. So let's start with Best Film Editing. I think Vice has a really good shot of winning this, and I think it is going to win. I just really hope that Bohemian Rhapsody doesn't win, because there's this new video circulating of a scene where there's like 10 cuts in 10 seconds, and that's kind of the movie in a nutshell. I think the editing is a mess. A lot of people probably think that the editing is a mess in Vice, but I actually think it's pretty interesting and probably not as good as or as sharp as The Big Short's editing, but good enough. I think it's going to win. Next, we got Best Visual Effects, and I think that Avengers Infinity War is going to take this one home. As much as I'd like to see First Man win, I think this is Avengers to win. It's not a very strong category. They really missed the boat by not nominating something like Aquaman, I think, which had really interesting and unique visual effects. But Infinity War should take this one home. It's between that or First Man, but I'm going with Infinity War. Next up is Best Production Design. Now, I'd assume that the favorite would win this, but this is really up in the air. I think it could go to favorite Mary Poppins Returns, Black Panther. It could go to Roma. I think there was a lot of love put into the production design of that. It's a pretty strong category. I definitely don't think First Man's going to win, even though I'd like to see it win. But yeah, I think the favorite is going to win this one. It's a critical darling. It's a period piece. It's sort of designed for things like this. Next, I got Best Sound Editing, and surprisingly, I don't know if a lot of people are predicting this, because I really didn't look at predictions to go by what I'm going by here, but I think that First Man is going to win, because there was such a lack of love of First Man in these Oscar nominations, and I think this is a movie that revolves around its technical achievements, and I think sound editing is one of those technical achievements. Yet again, I hope Bohemian Rhapsody doesn't win. I fear that it might, but I actually think they'll give this one to First Man. Now, Best Sound Mixing it's actually, I've learned through the years, it's quite different than sound editing. Mixing is more musical, I think, and that's why Star is Born is nominated for this. But I think this one will go to one of the music type movies. It'll either go to A Star is Born or Bohemian Rhapsody. As much as I hate to say it, I think Bohemian Rhapsody is going to win this one. It probably has more music in it than A Star is Born, so they'll give it to it by default. It won't bother me too much, I guess, but I'd really like to see First Man win this one as well. I just think the sound in that movie is genius, but yeah, I'm going with Bohemian Rhapsody. Next, I got Best Animated Feature. It's no surprise, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is going to win. It has won everything so far. So if it lost, it would be a huge curveball, totally unexpected. And I think its biggest competition is The Incredibles 2. I just don't think it's going to win. There is no signs of it showing that it's going to beat Spider-Man. I loved Isle of Dogs as well, but I don't think it stands a chance. And Spider-Man, I think, was one of the best movies of last year. So yeah, well deserved. Next, I got Best Original Score, and this one's tough. After First Man didn't get nominated, it just threw me for a loop, because I thought that was the front runner. So I think it's a toss-up between two movies here. I think it's between Black Panther and If Beale Street Could Talk. Leaning towards Black Panther, actually. I know the Grammys is not the say-all, be-all of what to expect out of Oscars, but Black Panther did win Best Score/Soundtrack at the Grammys last night. Again, it doesn't mean that it's going to win here, but I think out of all the things that Black Panther is nominated for, I think it has the best shot at Best Original Score. But if Bill Street Could Talk could sneak in there and win, and I'd really love that. That movie had a beautiful score and just a really great movie that was really under-nominated here. Next up is Best Original Song. Shallow is going to win by Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper from A Star Is Born. It's going to win. I don't even need to get into it. It's definitely going to win. There's no competition here. Best Cinematography, I also don't think there's much competition. Roma is going to win. Even Alfonso Cuarón did the cinematography for this. There was so much passion put into this. And the cinematography is the best cinematography of last year. It's gorgeous. Like, even if you didn't enjoy the movie and you found it boring, you can take shots out of that movie and freeze it, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful photograph. And yeah, no excuse if it doesn't win. That A Star Is Born Best Cinematography nod really baffles me over like First Man or Annihilation or Hereditary. But yeah, Rome's definitely going to win this. Best Costume Design, I think this is actually a toss-up. That Mary Queen of Scots, I haven't seen it, but it really mixed things up here, because that is another period piece along with The Favorite. But I think it's between Black Panther and The Favorite, leaning more towards The Favorite here. I think The Favorite is gonna win, maybe. Yet again, this is another one that's catered towards Black Panther, because the costume designs and that were very unique compared to a lot of other superhero movies. But I think they'll lean towards The Favorite because it is more traditional of the Oscars. It's not Oscar bait because it is totally unlike any other period piece, but I think The Favorite will win, should win. Best Makeup and Hairstyling, Vice. It's sensational in that movie. I haven't seen the other two movies, but if I had to make a guess, they probably don't have as good of makeup as what they did to Christian Bale to make him look like Dick Cheney. Best Adapted Screenplay, it's been the narrative all award season. BlacKkKlansman is probably going to win, and it's going to earn Spike Lee his first Oscar win, I believe. So, yeah, won't be too upset with that, even though I think Can You Ever Forgive Me was an amazing adapted screenplay. I think that was a really underrated movie that probably should have got nominated for Best Picture. Best Original Screenplay, I know there's been a lot of talks of Green Book winning this, but I don't think it's going to win. I think The Favorite is going to win. Aside from it having a better screenplay, there's not as much controversy surrounding it, and The Favorite has been cleaning house lately in terms of the more not underground awards, but smaller stuff like the BAFTAs. It killed at the BAFTAs last night. I believe it won this at the BAFTAs last night. And like I said, Green Book has controversy behind it, so they may try to avoid that and award that movie as little as possible. Best Supporting Actor, whenever I said they were going to reward Green Book as little as possible, I think this is where it will win, and that is Mahershala Ali. He's going to win. He's won every single time at every awards. He's going to win. Even though I think that Richard E. Grant deserves it. I think he gave a powerful performance in Can You Ever Forgive Me? Yet again, underrated movie. Best Supporting Actress, this has been a whirlwind of emotions. Regina King didn't get nominated for two major award ceremonies in the SAGs and the BAFTAs, and that's really telling if you look at Oscar history. And as much as I'd like to see her win, because every time she's been nominated, she's won, I think Rachel Weisz is going to win. She won the BAFTA last night. I know that's more of a British award show, and she's a British actress, and the movie is very British, but I think she is going to win because, like I said, Regina King not getting SAG or BAFTA nominations, it's really telling. It's more telling than you'd think. Best Actor, it was a two-way race between Christian Bale and Rami Malek, but I think Rami Malek's going to win. Don't think it's deserving. He's really good on stage, but just as Freddie Mercury in everyday life, it's not that good. I think Bradley Cooper is really underrated here. Not much talk about him. I think he gives the most emotionally nuanced performance out of all these actors. But yeah, Rami Malek, that's been the narrative. He's going to win. They'll get their award. La da da. Popular film, I don't know. Best Actress, Glenn Close should win because she has been winning all the awards. As much as I'd like to see Olivia Colman win, Glenn Close, that's been the story so far. So I'm leaning towards her, even though I think Lady Gaga still has a slight chance. Best Director, Alfonso Cuarón. He is winning consistently. Won at the BAFTAs last night. Won at Critics' Choice. If he's nominated for Best Director, he's going to win. That's been the story so far. And he's nominated for Best Director. He's probably going to win. It's pretty deserving too, I think. And to go along with the Roma narrative for Best Picture, I think Roma's going to win. Really, anytime it's been nominated for Best Picture, it's won. Like it wasn't nominated at the Golden Globes because it wasn't eligible, but it's probably going to win. I think it's either between that or maybe Green Book or The Favorite. But I really hope that the Bohemian Rhapsody doesn't win, and I hope that Green Book doesn't win. I want a really spectacular and artful film to win because I am selfish and I want stuff that I like to win. So those are my predictions for the Oscars in a couple weeks. I wanted to wait till after the BAFTAs so I could, like I said, have a better understanding of what I think could win. What do you think's going to win? Do you agree with my predictions? Do you not agree with my predictions? Leave a comment below, hit that subscribe button, and thank you for watching.